Two of the greatest champions in NASCAR history looked at the deadliest racetrack in Australia and signed the contract anyway. They told the world they were ready. They shook hands, they put pen to paper, and then, one by one, they vanished before a single lap. What could scare men who race at 200 miles an hour bumper to bumper on a daily basis? Stay with me till the end, because the answer involves a wall made of solid concrete, 16 dead competitors, and one driver who actually had the guts to show up and paid the price for it in front of everyone watching. Let's talk about the mountain, not a metaphorical one, a real one, sitting just outside a small town called Bathurst in New South Wales, Australia. For 350 days a year, this is nothing more than a public road. Locals drive home from work on it. Tourists rent a car just so they can say they've completed a lap of it. There's even a speed limit posted, 60 kilometers an hour, and local police enforce it strictly, no exceptions. But for a handful of weeks every year, that sleepy mountain road transforms into one of the most terrifying circuits ever built for motorsport. It's called Mount Panorama, and it doesn't forgive mistakes. Here's what the numbers look like. Just over 6 kilometers a lap, 174 meters of elevation change between the highest and lowest points, sections steep enough to hit a 1 in 6 gradient. And since the track opened in 1938, 16 competitors have died on it. 16. That list even includes a Formula One world champion, a man named Denny Hume, who suffered a fatal heart attack behind the wheel decades into his career. This road was never designed to test race cars. It was built during the Great Depression as a scenic tourist drive, funded as unemployment relief construction. The engineers quietly built the corners a little wider than approved, just in case. Then in 1938 it opened to the public, and racing has never really left it since. Now picture the machine you'd have to drive on it. NASCAR's next-gen Cup car. Over 3,000 pounds without the driver. Up to 670 horsepower. A 5-speed sequential gearbox with no clutch on downshifts, no tachometer, no speedometer, just pure muscle memory built over thousands of laps. It's an incredible skill. But now swap that car for a Supercars Gen 3 machine, the car used at Bathurst and at the Adelaide Grand Final. Lighter. A naturally aspirated V8 pushing around 600 horsepower. A fully manual sequential gearbox, no assistance whatsoever. Drivers heel and toe by hand on descents steep enough to make your ears pop. And here's the part that changes everything. Supercars run a spool differential. That means a completely locked rear axle, zero torque distribution between the rear wheels. It's a brutal, old-fashioned setup, and it fights the driver through every single corner before they've even reached the first turn. Get a downshift even slightly wrong, and the rear tires lock up instantly. On a NASCAR oval, a spinning car usually slides into gravel or grass. At Bathurst, a spinning car usually finds concrete, and the corners at Bathurst all have their own body count. The cutting, a pair of tight left-handers on a steep exit, has swallowed cars for decades because there's nowhere to go after a spin. In 2005, 2 drivers collided at that exact spot after neither one would yield, blocking half the circuit. Then there's McPhillamy Park, a fast downhill left-hander made completely blind by a crest right before turn-in. One of Australia's most decorated drivers hit that wall head-on during practice in 1986. A year later, a different driver crashed in almost the exact same place, in almost the exact same way. Griffin's Bend has punished cars that drift wide on exit, including a fiery crash in 2011. Quarry Corner has its own scar too. A race leader once struck a boulder that had been dislodged from the spectator area, ending what looked like a certain win in an instant. And then there's Conrad Straight, the fastest, most dangerous stretch on the entire lap. So lethal that in 1987, after another driver died there, officials literally carved a chicane into the middle of it just to force cars to slow down. Even the very top of the mountain isn't safe ground. A 9-time Bathurst winner, nicknamed the King of the Mountain, crashed near the summit in 1994. And in 2015, the defending race winner clipped a wall at around 170 kilometers an hour, bounced from wall to wall, mounted the concrete, and slammed straight through a marshal's post before finally stopping in the middle of the track. He was airlifted out with a broken leg and a broken wrist. 7 marshals were caught up in the same crash. He called it, in his own words, the biggest hit of his entire career. And yet, he came back and won the championship a decade later. Proof that even the mountain's worst can be beaten, but only after it takes something from you first. So this is exactly what Austin Cindric signed up for. A Daytona 500 champion, a Team Penske driver, agreeing to climb into a Ford Mustang for a wild-card run at the Adelaide Grand Final. His own team called it an extraordinary addition to the Supercars grid. Cindric himself said he'd been a fan of Supercars since he was a kid. His debut weekend arrived soaked in rain, conditions shifting constantly across all three races. In a 25-car field made entirely of full-time Supercars professionals, his best finish across the whole weekend was 21st. In the final race, he crossed the line 23rd. Describing it afterward, all he could really say was that his first race was wet, and that was kind of the extent of it. Mildly satisfied in his own words, but wanting to keep improving. And understand something, he didn't walk in blind. A three-time Supercars champion texted him daily in the build-up. A three-time NASCAR champion offered to review his data after every single session. A veteran Supercars driver followed him on track and came away impressed. With all of that coaching behind him, a Daytona 500 winner still finished in the 20s, in the rain, on a track that isn't even Bathurst. Adelaide has no massive elevation change. No blind crest. No corner with adverse camber dragging the car sideways. Adelaide is the gentle version. And he still struggled. Now flip the story completely around. Shane van Gisbergen built his entire reputation attacking a corner at Bathurst with brutal, adverse camber, the kind that fights most drivers exactly when they need grip the most. Instead of braking early, he carries the car in with the rear already sliding, feeding in throttle while the car is still rotating sideways, using the camber to accelerate instead of fighting it. That exact instinct followed him when he jumped into NASCAR in July 2023. He won his very first Cup Series start on the Chicago Street Course, becoming the first driver in 60 years to win on debut. Asked afterward if he genuinely believed a win was possible, he simply said, "No, of course not, but you always dream of it." And it wasn't a fluke. He went on to have a full rookie season in 2025, winning 5 races, more than any rookie in NASCAR history, and he now stands as the most successful non-American-born driver in Cup Series history. Van Gisbergen has even spoken directly about what would happen if NASCAR's biggest stars tried the trip in the opposite direction. Asked about Kyle Busch specifically, he said he'd have loved to see how Busch handled a supercar, and that if Busch took it seriously, he believed the American would do well. And Kyle Busch actually got close. He was reportedly lined up to drive a 888 Camaro at the 2024 Adelaide Grand Final as a wildcard. That plan quietly fell apart before it was ever officially announced, with Busch citing a commitment back home in the United States. Kyle Larson went even further down the same road. He confirmed the interest was mutual, specifically naming Adelaide as the event he wanted to attempt, calling it something he genuinely wanted to do. He was officially scheduled to make his Supercars debut as a wild-card entry at the 2025 Adelaide Grand Final, alongside an appearance in the event's companion sprint car program. Then in June 2025, he abruptly withdrew from the entire plan. The decision came right after a grueling attempt to complete both the Indianapolis 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 on the same day, a stretch in which he crashed out of both races within a few hours of each other. A journalist covering the story confirmed the withdrawal directly, reporting that the NASCAR star had pulled out of the planned Supercars debut at Adelaide. So here's where it all lands. 2 of NASCAR's biggest names both said, publicly, that they wanted to make this exact trip. Both of them backed out before they ever turned a single wheel in real competition. The only one who actually went through with it, under real race conditions, finished 21st and 23rd, in a 25-car field, on a circuit that isn't even Bathurst itself, just its gentler, street course cousin in Adelaide. Meanwhile, a road racer from that same mountain landed in NASCAR and won in his first ever start, then backed it up with an entire record-breaking rookie season. One direction proved a road racer could conquer NASCAR almost instantly. The other direction proved that NASCAR's own champions, even a Daytona 500 winner, could barely crack the top 20 on the easy version of the mountain. 2 men wanted to find out for themselves what would happen. Both of them pulled out before they ever got the chance. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If you enjoyed this one, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.